All right, so most of you are probably aware. Stand close to that. Most of you are probably aware of a big event that happened just a couple weekends ago, run by the ARRL.
Flood day.
Flood day. Yeah, apparently it was a flood down here or something. It was nice and dry and hot where I was. All right, so who all attended Field Day in one form or fashion? Holy smokes, I like it. I like it a lot. So, all right, so we don't really have a formal briefing to go off of Field Day. What we would like to talk about is if you had good experience, if you had a bad experience. Obviously, we can't change the weather. I'm not in that business. That belongs to one guy and one guy alone. We can talk about him later if you'd like to. Great dude, I promise. Anywho, Field Day. All of you probably had an activity down here. So look at that. Who enjoyed having a tower out there? I was really kind of jealous that I wasn't here to see it go up.
That sucker's amazing.
So,
Really put that tower together.
how tall was that? 80? 80 feet?
They only raised it to 55, I think, 50 or 55.
I only went up to 50 or 55. Okay, that's still better than 10. So, I will go into my little spiel at the end, but let's start with the club. Did anyone have something that they just absolutely enjoyed and would like for us to continue to do into the future? Or was it a bust? Was everyone sad because of the rain? Oh, there it is.
No, I was just gonna say,
Nope. Get a mic.
I was just gonna say that, Joe, the president, put a lot of effort into, this year, making sure that all the stations were connected so that the logs kinda got back to the central location. So I think that in the future is gonna help us keep track of everything. And it went pretty well, I think, until the storm started to loosen stuff out. But, like he had Ethernet cables run all the way across the field. So it was pretty cool to see that.
Okay. So the interconnectivity of our logging system, okay. Anybody else? And Bueller. Was that the only fun thing that happened?
Thought it was really interesting to see the equipment start back up after getting really wet.
Say it
So-
one more time into the thing.
When that rain came through, Joe had 3 monitors set on the table. It blew them over. After about an hour or so, we got things hooked back up. He literally turned those monitors over and poured water out of them. And everything fired back up. That was really surprising.
Okay, so that sounds wet.
So yes, it's tough.
Very wet. Were they tough books?
No.
Oh,
Ironically, the only tough book there didn't
the
survive.
tough little guy. Okay, all right. That's even that then.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I thought my wife was joking. I texted her like, "Hey, have y'all gone to Field Day yet?" She's like, "We just got here. We're getting signed in," and within 10 minutes, and we left. I'm like, "No, you can't leave." And then she sent me a picture of the rain. I was like, "Okay, you can leave. Sure, fine." All right, so we put an antenna in a pond. That's unique. Just kidding. I know that it did hopefully start that way. Look at that guy, Adam. What were you doing there?
Debugging software. I spent the first 2 hours trying to get contest mode on FT8 to work, which is hard to test beforehand, but we eventually got it going. So this is FT8.
Okay. All right. Oh, we got this dynamic duo
Yeah,
going
this
there.
is the tough book that didn't make it.
That's the tough book that didn't make it. I heard once again she was burning them up, contacts left and right.
Yeah.
Probably the #1 station that we had 2 years running.
Joe, do you remember the total number of contacts we made? We normally would go over that.
Yeah, I failed to ask that question before tonight.
I think it was over 400, something like that. Didn't the total that we made?
I never saw a total.
Okay.
Okay. We'll get that and I'll make sure everybody knows it next week, or next month. Are we having fun in this picture? We're having something. Having a moment. All right.
I think I was having an FT.
That was me helping him get set up to the interconnected logging.
Oh, okay.
That-
So we're logging at this point.
That did work really well with FT8.
Yeah.
Okay. So the FT8 interconnectivity. All right.
Here's the GOTA station.
The GOTA station. How many of y'all were on the GOTA station? I think it's fun.
From like 7 to 7.
Woo!
Like 60, 70 contacts or something like that.
How many people did you have?
60 or 70 contacts, guessing, we did not count them, but from
Okay.
about 7 PM to 7 AM,
Okay.
nonstop.
How many people got on the air for the first time? Like brand new? You too?
I've
Nice.
never been on HF, ever.
Okay.
So that was my first time on HF and get to experience the kind of game type feel of it. How quick
Yeah.
can you get a contact? That was fun.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a young teen and family that showed up at the very beginning that got on there and was on there for probably 20 or 30 minutes maybe. They
Okay.
made some contacts.
So GOTA is fun. We last year had several people, my kids included, getting like, what do you mean? I'm talking to Rhode Island. Like, you're talking to Rhode Island. It's not on a phone. Well, yeah, it's not on a phone. It's better. It's radio. All right. So did we have many visitors?
Chuck, what was your experience?
Man, I started at, kind of what, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock?
No, about 7:30, when
Something like that.
you came when I was leaving.
Yeah, and I didn't leave till 7 the next morning. I got to, those fans going, no mosquitoes and that light, I didn't stop. And I was actually looking, I think I got over 70
Nice.
contacts. I'm looking at this thing right here, it says W4BS's contest summary report, shows total contacts 260.
Okay.
260.
That,
Okay.
that may not
Points.
have,
Total points 420, so that's just the thing we had, printed up, but I think that might be just, I don't know if that might just be fun, I don't know.
well, some of the CW was gonna have to go back and be re-entered. 'cause
Okay,
the
so the
laptop
CW
got-
had.
Yeah, there's some,
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I had at that time, and I left, when we quit, I printed that out, and it was 260.
Okay. So yeah, CW probably, she's,
Yeah, that fella right in the
Amazing.
center in the red shirt, he had a kid. That was the teenager that was on the radio for a
Okay.
while. Yep.
so some families showed up. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Holly said y'all were very welcoming when her and the kids showed up, so I thank you all for that.
Joe, how many did we have on the list, Joe? Didn't we had a bit-
78.
We had a lot of.
78?
people show up. Yeah.
Nice. That's nice. Hey, the overall thing. Okay, anybody else? Pros, cons, indifferent?
I think we did pick up on the meeting the other day from the other club that one of the things that they wanted to work on next year was that we were supposed to have some engagement from the library and it didn't work out. So to work on that next year. Like they were
Yeah,
supposed
so-
to do some classes or something and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, so we teamed up with Neshoba. We were supposed to be able to hold some classes in the library. Some stuff fell through. We're gonna work on it. It's gonna be great next year. I promise you, I've already told my commander, like, hey, I don't really care what's happening next third weekend in June. I'm gonna have to miss drill if you schedule it then. And she was like, okay. So I don't think she scheduled it for then. All right, anybody else? This is us trying to make sure that y'all have a good time next year as well. So if you have something, now's your time. It's never too early to pitch a good idea. Bueller. Okay, did anybody have something that they did not enjoy? Obviously not the flood. I can't control it.
Wish there'd been a closer porta potty.
Okay, closer facilities, okay. Alright. That will be on the thing for me to log, okay. Anything else? See, there we go, that's a good answer. Anything, anybody?
Hey, Jonathan, you had mentioned something the other day about having lunch today.
Yeah, I did. I mentioned it in our board meeting, but like I got there pretty early, not as early as some people, but I got there about 8 or so, and I hadn't really eaten a whole lot for breakfast and was there working through. If y'all weren't there, from basically like 7 in the morning to when that rain started, it was nearly 100 degrees out there all day long, and so it was real hot. And we had food, but we didn't really have a plan to have any kind of lunch or anything for people, so I kind of hit a wall at around 11 or 12, and I had to go home, and I just didn't have any energy to get back once I went home. It was like, so maybe next year we do some planning on having some sort of a lunch during that time, especially for the folks that have been there all morning setting up and, you know, whatever.
Yep. So, like you said, that was mentioned in the board meeting, the other last week. So we'll be looking into that next year, which will be even bigger and better. Just a quick experience for me. I was obviously away doing Army stuff. Looked on the ARL website, found a club that was real close to the drill hall, left drill. I've got to remember that these ladies and gentlemen are Northerners. So I got there and they were taking down because of the extreme heat. I looked, it was 88 degrees. So, okay, cool. Pull up the website real quick, find another one. I didn't look at it. I didn't notice that it said QRP Club, but I was like, hey, there's a club right over there. I went over there and they were having a good time. They had a good setup. I got there as they were breaking out dinner. Everybody was just hammering away on CW. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Deeks and dives, congrats, y'all are way better than I am. But then I noticed in the corner, there was a phone station set up with nobody at it. And I was like, well, I know how to do that. And asked, got to run it. It was pretty fun. QRP operating that way. It was the first time I'd ever operated QRP. So I had to remember while I was trying to bust some pile-ups that was just not going to happen. So I just went on my merry little way. So it is fun that we have a hobby that we can go anywhere and they drop the dot saying we are here, and you show up and they actually invite you in because you share the same hobby as them. They're not one of those, "Ooh, you don't belong to us, go away." So that is a great takeaway for me that I had. So next year is going to be great. I will be there unless I get deployed, but that's not looking like it's going to happen. So we're going to have fun next year. Our next event, well, not next event, our next thing is our very own Adam. He's going to learn us good on a in-fed halfway. Oh, I'm going to get out of the way.
Cool.
All right, everybody. Yeah, so talking about in-feds. This one is based on Signal Report Feedback 2. Somebody actually suggested a specific kit, which we'll talk about, and then some other alternatives to that kit. So what is the best antenna? I already gave this one. What's the best antenna? The one that gets you on the air. So, there is no best antenna. It's just whatever you happen to create and what works for you and your environment. Some people say that when you start concealed carry, you get a drawer like this. That's not true for me. I actually had the same holster for like 9 years. But I do have a bunch of in-fed antennas. So that's my version of that. A little bit of review. Light travels, radio waves travel at the speed of light. You can do easy math by dividing the 300 divided by the frequency, and that'll give you the approximate name of the band. So 300 divided by 14 gives you approximately 20 meter band. 300 divided by 146 gives you 2. We simplify this for building antennas with 468 divided by the frequency that you want to use.
In megahertz.
Correct, in megahertz. And that gives you the length of a half wave in feet and accounts for the Q factor, or the velocity factor, the average wire. So if you need to make an antenna on the fly, That gives you your half wave, which for a dipole, you want each side to be a quarter wave. So the half wave would be the overall wave. So this is your average dipole. In a vacuum, the feed point of a dipole is determined by the ratio of the voltage and the current at the feed point. So what you have here is voltage going up and down along the wire, and then current going through the air, through space like this. And so when you feed a dipole in the center, you end up with, does anybody know what the approximate impedance of a
72 ohms?
72 ohms? Congratulations. How about if you make it inverted?
It's closer to 50 ohms, maybe 60.
Yeah. 50. Awesome. What about an off-center fed dipole? 200. So the average off-center fed dipole, you gotta convert that to 50, and we'll talk about how to do that. What about on an in-fed halfway? What's the impedance over here? Remember this, so you get all the voltage on the ends. So yeah.
2,500 ohms.
Yep.
Resistance.
At
Up
least
to 3,000.
2,500. Good deal. So we have to transform the impedance somehow. And so the way to do that is with various transformers that are wound with wire in multiple different configurations. And depending on if your load on each end is balanced or unbalanced, or both being unbalanced, you either have a balun or an un. But the main focus is to know that it transforms the load. And there's different ratios for doing that. So I tried to make these two different sizes, but these are two pictures of the two most common transformers people use for any antenna really. But it's an FT140, which is 1.4 inches diameter, and an FT240, which is 2.4 inches diameter. And the 240 is over here.
43 mix.
Yep, 43 mix is the best for these frequencies. Most common for an in-fed is a 49-to-1 winding. So you twist the wire, wrap it around twice, and then one end goes to the center conductor, this end goes to ground, and then the rest of it you wrap around 7 times, and then loop through, and then do 7 more times, and then comes out here. You could do 14 turns all the way around here, but then your input and your output are right next to each other, so they can cross. So people came up with this way to wind it, where you do this, go down, come back up.
So are there actually 49 turns in that wire?
No, it's
14.
yeah, 14 turns through the toroid, but something with this is the primary winding and this is the secondary winding. The ratio of the primary and the secondary and math exponents, something like that. That gives you 49-to-1.
Okay.
Because over here, you got 2 primary windings and 16 secondary windings. That gives you a 64-to-1. That's good for in-fed random wire, which can't be random because it can't be a half wave on any band. Or you could do a 9-to-1. Simplest way is to do 3 wires 9 times and then connect them together a few different ways. And this is what that looks like in a electrical diagram. And then this will be used for a in-fed long wire, which in my experience are only really good up to 40 meters anyways. So, or you could do a guanella balun. So winding 2 coils together and crossing them together. And this is really good for rejecting common mode current. So this is used on off-center fed dipoles. But I'll show you all these to show you can get as complicated or as simple as you want in your windings.
Which one's the simple one?
I'm gonna get to that. I got one that is,
Does wire size determine power carrying capability?
it does, yeah. But it doesn't affect it significantly, so use what you can afford. And then there are several ways to configure the in-fed wire that you're using. So for most of these, you could suspend this one just on the ends and then have the middle free hanging. But you couldn't do that with this, so obviously it's gotta be higher, it's not gonna float in space if you just have these. So you gotta connect this one in 3 spots. Your coax has to go to the center. So if you had a tree in your yard that was far away from your house, you'd have to run coax to the center of it. Same thing here, but with an in-fed antenna, you get a lot more options for how your wire is run. So however you want to place your transformer and then run your wire. At my place, the wire snapped, so I have to replace it, but I've got 260 feet, which is a half wave on 160 meters, going over a bunch of trees and then suspended on the other end. So it's like an inverted U, sort of. Here's an inverted V we used at the
Red Cross exercise.
Red Cross, yep. So it's transformers attached to the table right here, just a short jumper to the radio, and then 66 feet goes up to the center, comes back down, tied to this backpack.
Comment.
Yeah.
Also, if you do an inverted V, it makes it more omnidirectional. If you do a flat top, it's more broadside.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you got maybe a little nose on the end, but omnidirectional, if you do inverted V, it's more, but it doesn't have as much gain in one direction like
Right.
off the sides
Yeah.
on the flat top.
So here's that kit that was recommended in the signal report. And it is really well thought out and designed, and they give you a custom PCB that's designed exactly to screw into this box. And it's a nice box, and it seems to be nice components all around. It is $79.95, which is just a little bit high, in my opinion. You can go to eBay and buy an in-fed antenna for $68. I have an off-center fed dipole from this guy that Tyler turned me on to. And really well made, and it comes with the wire. But if you want to learn how to build these, then that's not ideal. You can go to Amazon, you can get a transformer, you can get a Ballon kit for $16. And that's actually what I have here. It doesn't include the wire, so you gotta get that on your own. I'll show you some options for that. And then I printed this winder. And they tell you to make a 9-to-1, tell you how to wrap it in the instructions, but I wrapped it the new way, which I'm gonna show you in a second. So the really, really cheap kit actually works okay. That's what you saw in the photos a couple slides ago. Here's the wire that I'm gonna replace my broken wire in the house with. Really thin, it's 26 gauge, but that makes it really light, so hopefully it works. It's copper clad steel, so it should have a decent amount of tensile strength. I got the 500-foot roll. I think it was really cheap, I don't even know, but like a penny per foot, something like that. Poly Stealth is a really popular option. It's 22 gauge, a little bit thicker. I bought some of this when I got my General. Really nice stuff, really flexible, so that's likely to bend. You can also go to Lowe's and just get some house wire. I can't recommend this, but I also can't say I haven't done it. The insulation will not stand up to UV light, so just be prepared for that. But I did work all states in Texas for an in-fed made with that kind of wire. I'm gonna pass this around. This is the new hotness, the new toroid that everybody's using. This is the FT140, same one that comes in the Amazon kit. And this is its big chunk brother. So I'm gonna pass those around so you can feel the difference. DigiKey back ordered, but they're $8.08 on Mauser. They've got over 1,000 in stock. It's kind of small, but it's 7 1/8 inch thick, Type 43. The main benefit to this is the mass to volume ratio. So it's really dense. It's got a lot of material there for winding, or for doing your transforming with. Evil Lair Electronics appears to be the first person to experiment both with this toroid as well as this new way to wind it. So you'll notice all the winding is right here. He just does 14 turns right there, scrapes the enamel off the second wire, and then solders a wire to that, and then he's done. And then the way he tests these is he builds two, feeds them back to back. MM0OPX does this too. He's done a lot of videos on this. He kind of moved on, but build two, put them back to back, and then run those through your Nano NBA. And then that gives you a chart sort of like this. And you're winding up impedance on one side and unwinding it on the other side. So you get the decibel loss of the whole system, and then you divide it by 2 because you have 2 transformers. And so he does the math, one just for this one on every band, but then he did it for every possible combination of size of toroid and winding style of toroid that you could think of. And this one ended up being the most efficient. And so I had to test it, so I built one. Mainly because I just wanted to see how the Nano NBA worked doing this kind of experiment. So built 2 back to back, soldered them in the middle, and then had similar, if not better, results. So on 160 meters, less than half a dB loss. Same for 80, 40 meters, half a dB, just over, we got 0.68 for 20. You can see all those. And then MM0OPX added the capacitor. He was the first one that I found that did the capacitor. The capacitor is good for decoupling on harmonic bands. So when you get up into 15 meters, the ones where it's not going to be a half wave anymore, it's going to be 1.5 or two full wavelengths, something like that. The capacitor is likely compensating for the inductive reactance. That's what AI6XG showed. He did a lot of testing on the capacitor. Lowers SWR and increases bandwidth on harmonic bands. So most of the bands above 20 meters. MM0OPX also reiterated the importance of a high quality capacitor. And he recommends a 15 kilovolt and 100 picofarad. You can get a cut tape of the capacitor he recommends for like $1. So that's 10 capacitors for $1. If you only watched one video on this, Brett, K4MXW, he's got the Survival Comms channel. He does all of those tests, shows you how to build one, and then puts a FLIR camera on them and puts a load on them and measures the watts coming out. And he does all that in 15 minutes. So, really good video, really good channel. Subscribe to that one if you haven't. And then K6ARK, he uses the same Toroid. He offers a lot of different instructions for how to wind it. And then he's got a custom PCB here. And then when you build this thing, it's self-contained, and you put this shrink wrap over it, and it ends up being just about that big. And he skips the box part, but unfortunately it's unavailable at the moment. But we could see about getting maybe the Gerber file for this PCB if we throw him a couple dollars, and then we could print our own PCBs, and then get our own Toroids, and then I've got a pound of magnet wire. That's cheap enough. So if we wanted to, we could build a kit. I'm not recommending we do it anytime soon because I've been telling you guys to spend money on antennas a lot lately. But if you guys are interested, please hit me up and we can do that in Ham 101, or you can just watch the videos or whatever you want to do. But conclusion, Infinite half waves are interesting DIY antennas. There's numerous configurations, some advantages over the regular dipoles, and there's many inexpensive kits and parts available. Cool. Any questions? No, we had a lot of questions, but we also covered a lot. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Adam. So, here's the QR code for the signal report. This is your chance. If there's something you're interested in or would like or didn't like about tonight, here's your chance to let us know. We're trying to gear this towards what y'all want to do and what your interests are, what your possible interests are. So just let us know. Be frank and honest about it. Adam will be here for a few more minutes to talk to you about in-bed halfways if you got any more questions. Mr. Joe's here for a little bit more. If you want to go to Huntsville, talk to him. If you want to renew your membership or become a member, that's available tonight. Thank you all for taking time to come out tonight, getting out of here. Slightly early, which is great. Just remember, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So on that note, again, thank you all for being here. Looking forward to seeing y'all next month. We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh,
Second.
a motion and a second.
Vote with your feet.
Vote. All in favor? Aye. Ayes. Any opposed? All right, I gotta fill it up. All right, thank you for coming. Stay safe and 7-3.